Hello, TikTok. Jim Malone here. It is Thursday, April 2nd, one day after April Fool's Day. The market seems to be moving a little higher, which is good. We're still in overall correction. The S&P is down about 23% from its highs, and we are seeing a bit of a relief rally. I am maintaining my short position on the SPY, which covers the S&P 500. I'm also short the Dow Jones as well, and also the real estate sector, which is the XLRE. So interesting stuff happening today. As predicted, we got a very bad jobs number today, one of the worst out there, but we're still holding on. I was looking at the overnight markets from Europe. There's been a lot of buying to support the current levels of the market. I believe that we're seeing some intervention in the market, and it's going forward. So. But again, the jobs numbers was really bad. Initially, it was down. The market seems to be rallying in the midday. The SPY is currently above 250. That's a major level for it. If it can maintain that, we might go higher today, which would be very interesting. I don't anticipate over the long term, though, that will be the case. I think we're going to come down and look at a new low for the S&P, but we're clearly not there. We're definitely in correction territory. Now, interestingly enough, the dominoes, unfortunately, are starting to fall somewhat. I don't know if you're familiar with the company called Luckin Coffee. It's a Chinese company that is similar to Starbucks, and their stock absolutely collapsed today, down 81%. No surprise, really. They were faking their numbers. This happens a lot. It was a lookalike product to Starbucks. They were basically frauding their numbers, and it got caught up with them, and it went down. But there is good news on the horizon. It looks like Microsoft has moved stronger, and actually the IBD, the Investor Business Daily, put a buy or a buy point out on this. Now, this is really interesting. I wouldn't be buying long in this market just because we're in correction, but the buy point that they put on Microsoft, which is really interesting, is 190.80. Now, why is that number important? Well, if we get to that number on Microsoft and it holds, then we may be seeing a turn in the market. I don't think we are personally. I think that this is essentially, the market digesting all of the stimulus that is going to be coming into the market very shortly. But the unemployment numbers, unfortunately, were very bad. But the market did not crash, which is good. So the Fed and everybody has been moving to support the market. I believe that they are potentially supporting some of the ETFs because there's so much retirement money that's tied up in them. So we shall see what the deal is. We shall see what the deal is. Good morning, by the way, Bobby. Appreciate it. So what I'm looking at here, at least from the overnights, is the European banks are very weak. The way the European banks is they pay a dividend once every year, and it's fairly sizable. It's a little bit different than the way that the U.S. banks work. They really can't pay the dividend because of the fact that they're not in really very good shape. I'm not trying to be a bearer of bad news. It's just being real. I believe that we haven't seen. We're good. We're in the process of bottoming. I do believe that by the Friday we probably will see the market a bit lower. But right now we're up, and so that's kind of good. if in these periods when we're up, and if you have any long positions, I would consider liquidating them, because I don't believe that the bottom is in, and I think we're going lower. But right now, where the prices are firm, would possibly be a good time to sell if you have any long positions. So consider that. Now, as to where the inverse ETFs are running today, let me just take a quick check here on the, on the SQ. If what we've got to price that right now, I just want to look at that to see how it's doing. The SQQQ. Let's see what's happening there on the SQQQ. So, I am really bandwidth constrained here. Okay, it looks as if the SQQQ is down. That's not surprising, because the market is up. It's trading at 20.86, which is, a pretty good price. I wouldn't be in it right now. Okay, oil shines. Yeah, there was a tremendous uptick in the price of Chevron. Chevron moved very much higher this morning. Oil looks like there might be something coming from the Saudis and the Saudis and the Russians. They may have some kind of deal. Nothing firm yet, but hopefully they're going to start cutting a little production so that the oil prices will firm up, and there'll at least be a bottom on oil, which I think is very, very positive. And I think that's the reason that the market is trading the way it's trading, even in light of these terrible job loss numbers. So if we could firm up on oil, that would be excellent. Exxon Mobil. Let's take a look at XOM. It's up today tremendously, 40. Wow, look at that, nice. It's up very, very convincingly. It's trading very, very nicely. It looks as if there's a cup and handle formation on Chevron. On Exxon, which, interestingly enough, I don't know long term, but the price of this should be in the $60 range. So might be interesting to watch list Exxon Mobil right now as a potential buy when the market turns. Right now, I probably wouldn't be long on this, just because of the way the market is trading. It's still in correction, and I don't really like to take any long positions when the market is in correction, but it could potentially be a good deal. Do you trade cryptocurrency? No, I don't trade cryptocurrency. The main reason I don't trade it is because I'm afraid of government intervention in the market, making my dollars not worth as much. So, but I definitely am not against cryptocurrency. I just don't actively trade it. Did you close your SPY position? No, actually I didn't. That's very interesting. Thank you for that. I actually, this morning, when the market moved higher, I actually shorted some more. I don't know if that's wise or not, but I actually sold some more when it went up. I sold some more. So I believe that eventually, hopefully, you'll be right on this, that by the end of the week it'll be trading lower. My average price right now in the Spider is $48 a share, and so anything below that I make money, and anything above that, well, not so much. But I do keep the cash from selling what I did. But I'm short in that position at $48 a share. At $248. Excuse me. When do you decide to take an inverse? When do you decide to take an inverse ETF position? Well, I'm typically looking for a reversal. Inverse ETFs typically do well when the market reverses, typically moving from the upside to the downside. Now, today it moved the opposite direction. It moved somewhat to the upside, so that your inverse ETFs like the SQQQ are going to be trading lower today. That's just a fact. Now, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think probably by the end of the week, we ought to see another downward leg in the market. And in that case, it might be good to start looking possibly to go into the SQQQ again, possibly late Friday or probably on Monday, because I think Monday will be a down day for the market. But you never can tell because it's just depends on how it trends. I believe now the market is trending. It's really going sideways right now. It's being supported, but I do believe that once a lot of this support runs through the system, I do believe it's going lower and going to be testing some lows. The low I'm looking for on the spider, and that's sort of my proxy for the market, is about 218, and it may actually go lower than that. I will be covering my shorts probably at about 230 or 225, but currently I'm short the spider. How do you think? How do you think the next down leg will be this week? Well, I'm not sure when the next down leg is going to come. I'm pretty sure it's going to come though. I'm pretty sure it's going to come, and possibly on Friday, maybe on Monday. I don't trust the fact that, I mean, yes, the news on oil is great. I'm very happy that we have the news on oil, but I'm afraid that it's just not going to continue, and we're going to move lower, because one of the reasons I believe this is because typically in a bottoming process, what happens is a bottom is put in, and then it rallies up, and then it reverses, and then it retests that low point. And then once it's retested that low point, that's sort of the limit of where the market is going to drop. We're not there yet. We've come down and hit a bottom. It's bounced off the bottom. We're in what they call a relief rally. There's been movement up basically all week to this week. There's been a lot of support from central governments, but I don't think that's going to fail. I don't think that's going to fail, and we're going to go down another leg. So I'm looking at the market possibly to change direction either late today or early tomorrow, and possibly on Monday. You just cannot tell when, but I do believe it will change direction and go lower. So that is the reason I'm shorting now, is in anticipation. I'm selling at a higher price, hoping that the market will reverse lower, and then I'll be able to cover those shorts, and that will be the profit. Let's see. I'm good. Thank you, man. Thanks, man. I bought USO and XOM last week. You know what? Wow, if you're long XOM, that's great. If you're long XOM, that's terrific. I would possibly add to the position in XOM if it moves higher, if it moves higher today, and it's definitely doing that. So I mean, that's not necessarily bad. I'm not. One of the things about Exxon Mobil buying it in this environment is that you got to understand that when the market is in correction, typically 4 out of 5 stocks will go down. But Exxon Mobil has been beat up. It's a great company. It's been beat up because of the oil situation. They have the money to last. It's a quality company. It's not like Luckin Coffee or anything like that. So I don't foresee it going bankrupt anytime soon. So at $40 a share, I think it's a bargain, and it definitely might be worth adding to your portfolio. That would be one of the few longs that I would consider, only because I think that it's truly a good deal. Thoughts on Norwegian and Carnival cruise lines? I just wouldn't touch any of the cruise lines. I believe that they're radioactive right now, and I think there's going to be a restructuring. I think they're going to default on some of their debt. That's the problem with cruise lines. The real problem with the cruise lines is that even though they're cheap right now, and even though you're looking at the book value and it's good, there's just no demand for cruises right now because of this coronavirus thing. I mean, I wish that weren't the case, but I'm afraid it is. And so I wouldn't touch that sector. I think it's just too dangerous. I wouldn't touch. On a good day, right? Exactly. I mean, if we were in a different market, um, did you ever look at the VTI to gauge the market, or the SPY is the way? I like this. The reason I look at the SPY, spider, and it's just my kind of personal preference. The reason I look at the spider is because it's the most widely held ETF in the world. It's worth about, on depending on what day it's worth about in the range of about $220 billion, which is amazing. It's a good gauge on the retirement savings of the United States because it's probably the most popular retirement vehicle out there, single ETF. So it's a very, very good gauge. Now, I believe that there's been intervention. I was looking at the trades. Some of these block trades are huge, and I think that there's been an effort to support the price of the spider. I've been seeing very, very large trades go through overnight. So this isn't a completely free market. I don't believe this is going to. I believe that the reason that they're trying to intervene is to blunt the fall of it. I think it's going to go down just based on the fact that there's going to be a rebalancing of the market based on some of the companies not doing as well as they did. So I think over at least in the short term, I believe that it's probably going to head down somewhat. When did OPEC go back? When will OPEC go back? Well, the thing about the OPEC isn't really as powerful as it used to be because we're not in a. The problem with OPEC OPEC did really well when we were in a deficit for oil worldwide, but right now we're not. There's an oversupply of oil. So what's happening is that you're finding all the people that have been basically out of the market, like Iran, all trying to sell their oil at the same time Saudi Arabia is. What's happened is that Saudi Arabia and Russia are going to have to capitulate, and they're going to have to reduce their production. They don't want to do this because but they're going to have to, because if they don't, the market will collapse even further. So in these times, don't work as well as they do in times of scarcity. Right now, we're not in a scarce situation with oil. Oil demand has dropped just off the cliff, so that it's really not the kind of thing. It's not as important as it used to be. Coronavirus and oil dropping, yeah. Well, they are two separate things, absolutely. But one of the reasons that oil is dropping is because of a lack of demand. With people staying home, there just isn't the demand for the fuel that there was even 3 weeks ago. So it's really amazing. The demand supply of the world oil business is very precarious. I mean, if it's in balance, the prices stay relatively stable. But if it moves out of balance, it can move very fast in either direction. Up. Right now, it's moving to the downside. That's the reason that the Russians and the Saudis have, well, we're going to crash our whole industry. We're going to have to reduce production for right now. So that's sort of what's happening in the market, and that's why you're seeing Dow move up, and also Exxon Mobil. The reduced production basically what's happening is that they want to reduce production so that they can support a $20 or $30 price on the West Texas Intermediate or the baseline crude, because anything below that, and basically the more they produce, the more they lose. So you don't want to be in a situation like that. You need a price of about at least $30. The demand for oil is decreasing because everyone, absolutely, that is so true. Thanks for DoorDash King. Thanks, man. That's true. It really is. Everyone's staying at home. They're not driving to work, and that makes a big difference. When you buy oil stocks like Chevron, I like Chevron. Chevron is probably the most. Now, here's the thing about oil stocks. You got to be, if you're going to buy long in this period, and I'm watch listing oil stocks. I have not started to buy them yet, because I really don't want to buy them until I believe the market has bottomed some more. I'm really still a little bit leery on that, but Chevron is definitely on my watch list because it is one of the best of all of the oil stocks. It has tremendous liquidity. It's got it's an integrated oil company. Not only do they produce oil, but they refine it, they transport it. They basically do it all. Basically, Exxon and Chevron are really probably the two best. Now, that said, some of the smaller producers are going to start filing for bankruptcy. Some of the E&P companies are going to really be under pressure. Now, interestingly enough, Apache, which is based here in Dallas, and it's primarily an E&P company, but they do have, well, they also have refineries, believe it or not. They actually went up significantly today. So, but I think that many of the companies in the oil sector are very weak. I think Occidental is extremely weak. I think, companies like Concho Resources, maybe takeover candidates. So you got to be really, really careful on the oils. Yesterday, yesterday WTI inventories were up, but WTI did not go down yesterday. Any idea? Well, part of the reason is because we're getting artificial support in the market. I don't know if you know this, but the government is now trying to buy a West Texas Intermediate and put it in storage to make sure that there's a floor on the price of oil. So there's a lot of manipulation going on in the market. The market is the Fed and other things are coming into the market to buy things that you would have never thought before. They're trying to arrest the fall of the price of crude. Now, they haven't necessarily done it, but they've just announced it. So that tends to move the market. But that's the reason why. The inventories are up. There's no place to put it. There's not a lot of demand, but there's ray of hope, like, put it in the strategic oil reserve, and that's keeping the price stable somewhat, at least for now. It's not clear. It's not clear enough yet to make a heavy long position. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. There's going to be some good long. This is really astute. Whoever said this, Bobby, obviously, you're pretty astute. This is just not a good time to be establishing really heavy long positions, because we just don't know where the bottom of the market is going to be. It will happen. I mean, I'm not saying that that we're never gonna see another, we're never gonna see another up market. I don't believe that. But right now the bottom hasn't been put in. So putting in a long position, even though you think you might be at the bottom, you might not be. So that's the reason I'm pretty much short and not long. Oh, Gush. Yeah, Gush shines. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, Gush is an interesting one. That's that might be a way to play this. Definitely. I mean, that is totally. Let me look at Gush. That's interesting. I'm interested in that ETF. That is an interesting one. GUSH. Let me look at that bad boy. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's trading at about 16, and that's significantly up from where it was. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. That's wowee. That's good. That's not bad. It's definitely moving in a range. It looks like its high is about 18. That looks like where it's meeting resistance, I believe, at about 1750. So there might be a little bit more upside, at least to the short term. Any suggestions for day trading? Well, for day trading, what I like to do is primarily to trade the indexes, at least right now, and that's really what I'm doing by shorting the SPY, and then that's not a bad way to go. If I were I'm not day trading currently. I'm pretty much swing trading, but on the day trading side, I would look to go with the inverse or non-inverse ETF. ETFs. There's the SQQQ, which is the inverse ETF against the Qs, and then there's another one called the TQQQ. That's the one that you might want to go long today. Let me just take a look at it real quick. TQQQ. Oh, that's RQQQ. That's not worse. That doesn't work. TQQQ. This is basically the companion fund to the SQQQ, which is the inverse ETF. Yeah, and it's showing really good. It's showing nice movement up today. I would, yeah, 43.88. The thing about this one, I do believe that this one is going to reverse. Interestingly enough, you know what an interesting play on this one would be? And this is just my opinion. I would, if this continues to go up, I would short this. Actually, I know that sounds strange. Short an ETF that is shorting the index. That's a really weird way to go, but I think you could do very well doing that. Just a thought. Yeah, looking to sell soon. I think so. I think we're going to see a reversal, but we haven't seen it yet. The market is still, digesting everything. It's Microsoft was up, which is good. It's Microsoft is trading at 154. But you see, the thing is, I wouldn't really be a major long buyer until Microsoft got to a buy point. The buy point that I have on Microsoft is 190.80, which is we're a long way from there. So I still think we haven't bottomed. I think we may go lower. Those are just what I look at for things. How's the S going to be going ahead? Well, the thing about the SQQQ, it's a leveraged ETF and it against the index, so it moves against the market. So right now it's falling, but if there's a turn, and if you notice that there's a turn, that's when you want to buy the SQQQ. It will go up as long as the general market is going down. So do you think the SPY will go down tomorrow? Yes, I believe it's gonna move lower, but I can't tell if it's tomorrow or it's Monday or it's Tuesday. But I do believe it's going to go lower. The reason I do is because I believe that we're testing. We've got it's what's happening is that the S&P is up against resistance. I think it's going to move lower until it gets to a floor. I believe that the floor is about 225 or about 225. That's where I think the floor is. It may go lower than that. It needs to really test the low, which we made, which was 218. So there you go. What about the SPY tomorrow? I'm still shorting the SPY. I'm still short. Boy, Boeing is a really tough one. BA is really hard because I actually shorted Boeing, believe it or not, at 99. I then covered at I covered at 95, made a little bit of money, but not a whole lot. And then of course I'm glad I covered because it shot way back up and now it's coming back down. But right now it's trading. Yeah, okay, so it's weak. 127. I think I'm looking to see Boeing go lower. I believe that it's going to test. I think it's going to retest its low. Its low is 89. I would be, if I were being Boeing at all right now, I would be short down to probably about 99, 95. That's where I would be, basically looking at the chart. I do believe it's going lower. I think you're right. Yeah, GPS Baxter, that definitely. I believe it is too. What price would you buy at? Well, I think that the key level for Boeing is about 89. I think that's the key level. If it goes down to 89 and it bounces and it holds, then it's probably a buy. But right now, I wouldn't be long in the stock because I think it can fall further, and I think it's going to the support level. The bottom of right now for Boeing is about 89. Excuse me, it's about 89, and if it falls to that level and stays there a little bit, then we have some support. But I don't really know that we have support right now for Boeing. I think it even could go lower than that. So, James, how's your day going? Thank you. It's going good, actually. A little rain here, but other than that, pretty nice. Would you short more than the SPY today? Well, currently I'm only in 3 short positions. I'm short the SPY, and my average short on that is about 248 on that. I'm also short the diamond. I don't not that much. What the diamond is it's the Dow Jones Industrial, that of which the biggest component probably is Boeing. So that's sort of how I'm shorting Boeing right now. I'm not shorting it directly. I'm shorting it through what they call the diamond, the DIA. I'm short at that. I'm at 210.50 is where I'm short. It's up a little bit, so I'm a little bit out of the money. I'm a little out of the money right now, but I do believe it will move back. And then I'm also short the XLRE. Now, what is the XLRE? It's the spider for the real estate sector. I think the real estate sector is going to be really hurt, especially the commercial real estate sector. They're talking about, not having, not people not paying rent, all that kind of thing. And I just think it's going to be awful. That's why I'm short the XLRE, and I'm short on that one as well. So there you go. Um, when do you when would you buy into Tesla? I'm waiting for Tesla basically to show support, and with Tesla, and that's definitely on my watch list. I am not currently in Tesla, but Tesla right now is trading for 471. I believe it's going to have to retest below 400 before I would look at it again. Um, it it is trending lower today. I do think that there is support at the 361 level based on my charts, but anything below 400, that's possibly a time to look at it. What are your thoughts on the cruise line stocks? Absolutely stay away from the cruise line stocks. I know that they're cheap. They're very tempting. It's always great to buy things on sale, but I am not a fan of the cruise line stocks right now just because they don't have any customers. That's the main problem with cruise line stocks. And also they have a lot of debt. So I am not, I I just wanted to put that out there. That's a really good deal. I mean, if you have it that low, I mean, oh, BP, I apologize. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, BA is Boeing. That's why I was a little confused there. The BP at 18. Wow, that's interesting too. You know, this is probably this is the place to look for bargains. I mean, I'm not normally a bargain hunter. Wow, look at that. 26. You did very, very well. I'd hang on to that ride for a while. What I would do if I bought at 18 is I would start to push my stop loss up a little bit. Try to keep pushing your stop loss up, and then if it does reverse on you, you'll sell out, you'll make a profit, you'll continue to keep that profit. That's a really good deal on BP. BP is another one of the great integrated oil companies. It's one of the seven sisters. It's really, truly a good company. So that's a bargain. Now, as I say, as I've been saying to everyone, I am short basically everything. I'm not long anything in this market because we're in correction. That's the main reason. But the oil sector might be the exception. It's gotten so beaten down, and when the economy recovers, it will recover. I mean, there's just no question about it. And when it does, that's a good deal. So not a bad play. But if I bought it and it went up like that, I'd move it up. Yeah, okay, it's 28 now. Okay, don't sell. Okay, you know what I would do? I would set my stop loss at about 24 and see what happens. And then if it moves down, just don't touch it. If the stock moves up, push your stop loss up a little bit as well. Wait, how did I do that? Okay. I don't know what platform you're using, TD Ameritrade or Robinhood, but it lets you what you can do is you can set in there a limit order. It's called a limit order. So let's say you had 100 shares of BP. What you do is you go in to the system and you put in you put in a stop limit order and a stop market order, and then you put in a price. And typically the price you want to put, if you're long, is going to be about 7% below what you paid for it, or in your case, 7% of where it's trading now. So if, let's say, it's trading at 80 at 28, you want to put in that stop loss maybe at about 24, and then you put in good till canceled GTC, and then basically if that stock drops down to that point, it will sell you out and you'll capture that profit. So E-Trade, okay, E-Trade's a good one, but it'll allow you to do that as well. So that's a way you can capture profit when you're in it. You've bought right in the market, it's moving up. The reason I would do it this way is because I do believe that the overall direction of the market is down and not up. So if you do get some of these stocks that do move up, you want to put your stop loss in their market and then continue to move it up. And then if your stock moves to the downside, it will break through that. It will sell you out. You'll get that profit, and that's really important. Okay, is JNUG good? Let me look at that one really quickly. JNUG. Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's Gold Miners Junior. Okay, that's the bull. Okay, I wouldn't be in this one. Right now, I don't like anything related to gold, only because we are in a deflationary market right now, not an inflationary market. I just don't think that would be a good one. But it's a good way to play the gold market it's a good way to hedge gold if you have gold in another account. This might be a good one to use as a hedge, but I wouldn't play it directly. How is the stock price determined? That's a really good question. Basically, what it is that the stock is based on the index. So there are a number of junior gold miners. A junior gold miner is a gold miner that basically is not like a Barrick or something like that, smaller one. And it's based on a basket of those stocks in an index. So that's how it's determined. With the junior gold miners, those can be some very good ones in in a bull market, they can be very good. But right now, I'm just not a fan of the gold stocks. You bought a bunch of stocks. Just bought a bunch of stocks in Dow, PAP, XLE. Ooh. Wow. Okay. I think that. Okay. I'm not a fan of. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you this. I just wouldn't be long in these stocks. I mean, I know that they're cheap, but I just don't think. I don't think you're going to do well on them. Let me look at the XLE. I would go short on the XLE probably. Let me look at the XLE. That's the XLE is a okay. That's the yeah. That's the energy. Okay, that's the energy spider. Um, you know, boy, I would not. I don't think. I think this one is going to go the opposite direction on you. Unfortunately, I just don't see a bottom yet in the oil market. But you might make money on it. I'm not a bull right now. Tried to get out with losing him. Yeah, absolutely. That's really a good advice, Bobby. You know, the main thing to do right now, because we're in the process of bottoming, is that you're going to get these false rallies, and some of these things that are going up, you think, wow, it's going up. I'll just buy this thing and it'll be great. Well, the problem is in this market, it's not a market to be long. Now there's some exceptions. I mean, I really believe that there's certain oil stocks that might be buys right now, but I wouldn't be buying the XLE. I'd be buying the most beat up of the lowest stock, which in the best company, which is a Chevron or Exxon Mobil or possibly a BP. Those are all good, but other than that, there's going to be so much carnage in the oil sector. So many of the smaller companies are possibly going to go bankrupt. The XLE just probably is not going to be that good. I would short it though. But how much worse can it get? Well, actually, it can get a lot worse. I know that sounds. How can that be? Well, we could have $10 oil. I'm not saying we're gonna, but we could have $10 oil. If we have $10 oil, we have a worldwide depression, at least until the price comes up to about 20. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but I don't want to take that risk. I would rather go with a better bet, and that is I'd rather move. I always like to move in the direction of the market. That's one of the things I really like to do because I've been burned by trying to go against the market. The market is currently in an uptrend, but it's in a downtrend, at least for now. So that's why I'm short. What are some of your strongest short positions right now? Well, I believe I've made the most money in the last 2 weeks on shorting the spider, SPY. Now, that may be coming to an end because I'm starting to see a lot of government intervention and I'm starting to see a lot of big blocks being traded. But I do believe that the market, I do believe that the spider will move lower. And if you do short it, you can probably make some money. I certainly have. If you're thirsty to buy, take some small positions. Yeah, and slowly. That's right, Bobby. That's right. If you have to be long, the way to go is with some very small positions. Start in the sectors that probably will turn around first. And actually, that's probably going to be the sectors that are probably going to turn around first. I would say that probably the stock that's going to turn around first is probably going to be Microsoft. I think it's going to go higher eventually. Even in this market, it's doing well. So you might want to nibble in there. The thing is, I wouldn't be really long on this because the actual buy point for this is 190. It's trading at 154, which is still pretty high. But if I were moving that, that's where I would be looking to buy. But I'm not a long right now. Let's see. Any thoughts on Square long term? I think Square has really good potential long term because they have a really good service to the small business person. And I think this is really an underserved, very important market. I do think that also PayPal is good in this space. I think Square is good. I think it's overvalued right now, and it's probably coming down somewhat. Let me just take a quick look at. I haven't been tracking Square. It's not in my portfolio now. I have owned it just for full. Yeah. Okay. So it's moving up nicely. Okay. It's still 46. That's really too pricey for me. I want to see it put in the bottom. This bottom is about 40. I wouldn't be looking to, if I had to go long, I wouldn't go long unless I was about at 40 on that one. Oil is starting to change direction soon. Oh yeah, absolutely. The oil market is really an interesting market because it's very political, as you well know. Many of the countries of the world produce nothing that anybody wants to buy except for raw materials, and that main raw material is oil. So the price of oil is very political in that it totally depends on what the price is and how well country is doing. That's the situation that you have in Russia. Russia doesn't export a whole lot except for arms and oil. So, and that's true for Mexico. Well, Mexico's a little bit different. That's true for Venezuela. That's true for Saudi Arabia. A lot of the world depends on those oil payments. So the fact that the oil is so far down means that these countries basically have nothing to sell and are getting very poor. So they are moving to support the price of oil. I believe that oil will be supported at above $20 a barrel, but in the short term, it could fall as low as 10. So I don't know. On oil, it's a really interesting one. The SPY is S&P. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Anytime the S&P is up, the SPY is usually up. That is correct. Absolutely true. That is why I am a short on the SPY. That's very good. Thank you for pointing that out. The reason I am short the SPY is that I do not believe that the S&P 500 has put it at its low, and the reason I don't believe that is because just about a week ago, it made a new low, and that was, at least for the SPY, was 218, and currently it's trading at about 250. I believe that it's going to retrace and possibly go down a little bit, and hopefully I can capture some of that gain. And I think there's at least a 10 to 15% gain if you short the SPY at about 20. That's my opinion. Okay, let's see. I'm not there. Impacting the market, driving it down like a pandemic. Yes, absolutely. That's the thing. This is a very, very hard market to figure out because, we have this pandemic, which is basically drying up, which is totally getting rid of demand for things like oil, for things like shopping, all that kind of stuff. And it's just, it's just not normal that a market goes from 100% to zero in a month. That just doesn't happen. I mean, that's why it's getting supported. So the problem with that is when it restarts, and it will, a lot of the companies that were okay are not going to be so good, and they're going to see a lot of bankruptcies, and that's going to ripple through the economy. I mean, Macy's is probably going to go down, and if you're here in the U.S., you can see that there's a Macy's practically in every shopping center. They're not going to have anybody to rent that space. Real estate ETFs probably are not going to do very well in the next few months. That's just the way it is. So, okay, if the real thing, okay, if there's real things, okay, well, absolutely, there are definitely real things that are driving the market because people aren't out there shopping, and 70% of America's GDP is based on people going out and buying things. So the fact that they're not doing that, we've gotten rid of about 70% of the commerce in this country. That's a problem, and that's why they're pumping all this liquidity into the market. That's why they're sending out checks to everybody, but we haven't seen anything yet. We're just about a week or two into this thing. The pain is going to come later, and I'm afraid the market is going to move lower until it bottoms, and we're not there yet. That's the reason I'm short the SPY. Okay, let's see. Car companies, yeah, absolutely, tons of impact. Like, I mean, look, CarMax, which is a very profitable company, they sell primarily used cars. The demand for cars is just going to go down because people, first of all, don't have jobs to go to, so they're not going to commute. It's not going to be pretty. That's all I can say. The impact is super fast. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's not going to be a slow burn recession. I mean, we're already seeing people that are going to have a rent strike in California and New York. People are not going to pay their rent. Well, that sounds great if you're a renter, but the problem is all of those houses, buildings, they all have mortgages, and the people that are retired depend on those REITs paying them on those mortgages to make their retirement. That's all going to go away very, very quickly. We're literally, we're in a very weird time. I mean, when would you buy stocks again? Well, I'm going to buy stocks when the market turns. I'm not a negative Nelly. Believe me, I'm not. I'm very positive. But right now, I think it's just very dangerous to be long on anything because we just don't know the depths of where it's going. Now, can you make money on certain stocks? Yes, you can. And the rallies when markets are going down can be just amazing. I mean, you can get up to 10%, 20% in a day. But it's overall it's good not to go against the market. Right now, the market is trending lower. At least it has been. There's something what they call the death cross, which I don't know if you've heard about, but that's where the 50-day average crosses over the 200-day moving average, and it just did that on the spider. That means that there's about a 90% likelihood that it's going lower. The S&P is going lower. Why is that important? Well, the S&P represents the bulk of the stock market, so it does not look, at least on a chartist basis, like it's going to go higher. And that's why I am short. No problem. There's an inverse. Yeah, absolutely. The REK, if you can't short stocks directly, that is the way to go. Is in the REK, that makes a lot of sense because what that is that's a short ETF. That takes the short position for you. So you don't have to have you don't have to have the ability to short stock. Yeah, okay, it's down a little bit today. It's at 16. But if this market turns, that will be moving right back up too. It was all the way up at 19. Okay, so if you look at the chart of the REK, it's almost the inverse of the S&P 500. So if you want to start shorting, then it's probably what you do is you just buy this ETF just like you normally would, and if the market goes down, it goes up. So that's a great way to go. I really appreciate that for bringing that up. Would you buy a stock based on the yields? No, I would not, because the yields are not guaranteed. All right. Now, here's the problem. Up in a month or so ago, when the market was at all-time high, companies were buying back their stock. They were putting out, they were announcing huge dividends. Well, they can't pay those dividends. So buying a stock based on its dividend percentage right now is a fool's errand, because most of them will not be able to pay it, and that's the problem. That's really the problem. Are you still holding short? Yes, I am. I'm still holding my short on the SPY. Thanks, Malone. I appreciate it. I am. I'm still short on it. As a matter of fact, I actually went in and I shorted some more today. As the SPY was going up, I was shorting more of it. You say, wow, that's a weird position. Why would you do that? Well, the reason I will do that is because if it goes up, I'm going to average up the price that I'm shorting at. So that allows me, then if it does reverse, I will make more money because I am shorting at a higher level. Now, when you short, like I'm doing, that money actually goes into your account. So I have tremendous leverage in that I can basically sell somebody else's stock, put that cash into my account, and then hopefully if the stock goes down, buy it back at a lower price. But I'm in a cash position, and that's a very key thing. Where do you learn? When you learn about financial literature. Okay, well, one of the so make sure that you understand these inverse ETFs. They make you feel, yeah, exactly. The thing about an inverse ETF is that it's typically a product that in normal times is used to hedge against long positions. But we're in a weird time. So it is a way that you can relatively safely short the market. But they move much faster than regular ETFs. 10K to play with. What's up your thoughts? Which stocks you pick? The best ones are better than mine. Okay, if I had 10K right now and I was looking to do something with that, I would look at the inverse ETFs, at least partially. Now, I wouldn't put everything. I wouldn't put 10K into inverse ETFs. Why not try, to put maybe at least get your toe wet, put about $1,000 into something like the PSQ, which is their inverse ETF on the market. That might be a good way to go. That's how I would do it. That's how I would play it. Inverse ETFs are a safer way of shorting. Actually, shorting a stock is like borrowing shares. Yes, absolutely. It's not necessarily safer. Actually, I believe it's safer to actually short the shares on the indexes, not the individual shares, but the indexes. That's why I do it. I don't really short individual stocks, at least not at this point in the market. I'm going to be shorting individual stocks, but that's when we have a recovery. That's when the best shorting of individual stocks will happen. Now, I'm just shorting indexes at this point, and the indexes are represented by primarily the spider and also by the diamond, the DIA, which is the Dow Jones Industrial. So that's how I'm doing it. Do you think that the golf course capital company really benefit? Yes, I do. I think. Well, the thing about Russia is Russia has an incredible ability to withstand pain. So they can. It's just unbelievable. The Russians traditionally have been able to withstand incredible pain. I mean, the Nazis could not defeat them in World War II. They just took more pain than any other country. But that said, I think that it's going to be very tough in the GCC. I think you're going to see potentially even some wars because, I think there's going to be a real shortfall. The problem with the Gulf countries is they have nothing really to sell except for oil. So it's really a problem, and it's going to be bad. Okay, my watch list is in the green, except Tesla. Very good. It's going down. Probably back up tomorrow. Tesla's a hard one to say, but yeah, that's really good that your watch list is going up. That means that potentially, I think. But here's the thing about Tesla. Tesla is going to be a buy again. It's just not a buy right now. So I would stay on the sidelines. It's a quality company. I did very, very well in Tesla in January and February. December, January, and February. I made really good money on Tesla. It's a quality company, but it's not. I don't think it's time to be in it right now. Do you ever short leverage exposure funds like the? I typically don't do that. That's a really good. The only reason I don't do that, I'm less of a. I try to be less of a gambler. I try to. That's a really good point. I mean, if you have a turn and you're shorting a leveraged fund, you can really do well. But there's a lot of potential damage there. So I typically don't short leveraged ETFs. I just don't do it. I mean, I think the ultimate play would be to do something like short the TVIX and hope that and hope that the market goes in hopes the market goes down. I'm not going to do that. It's just too difficult. Tesla at 4. I think so. I think so, Jose. Yeah, Joe. I think you're right. I think that Tesla's probably below 400 because there was a key level of 420 that was really important to Tesla. I do believe that once they get the production going again, I still think that you're going to see. I think they're going to sell all their vehicles. I don't think that's the case with the other car companies, unfortunately, though. I don't think Ford, I don't think GM are going to have that luxury, but I do think that once their production resumes, I think you will see they will sell everything they make. But the problem is they're not producing right now, so they're not selling anything, so it's not so good. What are your thoughts on options and puts? Well, in normal times, my normal strategy is to sell covered calls. So I think they're a great way to go. I think they're a great way to go. You want to be probably selling cash secured puts. Well, no, you probably want to be buying puts right now. I prefer to use the inverse ETFs, really. I think it's an easier way because you can get in and out better, especially if you have low capital. Be careful, if you don't know what you're doing. Yes, exactly. That's right. The thing about if you have small capital, it's better probably to pay the inverse ETFs, because the thing about the inverse ETFs that I really, really like is the fact that they're liquid, and if you have to get out of the position, you can sell it and you can buy it. That's not the case with a option, especially if you're covered on, you're in a covered call or something like that. You may have to roll it out. So I think in many ways that, at least for right now, these inverse ETFs are probably a better way to short the market if you don't have the capital to actually short the indexes like typically I am doing. I think it's safer because you can get in and out of the part of that's the problem in this market is you've got to really be concerned about liquidity, because liquidity can dry up on certain things, and the liquidity in individual options can be difficult because they're much thinner than the underlying instruments. So I think that's a better way to go is with the inverse ETFs, my opinion. So regarding space, I'm bought it at 35 and it's dropped like crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Would you sell it? I would sell it. I sold out. I actually sold out at 34. So, but the way when I buy something that's going up like that, I move my stop loss up, and then when it reverses, that's when I'm selling. I would sell space because I don't think it's going to recover, at least in the short term. Preserve your capital. That's the key. Preserve your capital. Now, let's see where this is trading at. They may get a bounce, but I just don't think they're going to be as good. Okay, they're trading for 12. I know this is so painful, but God, did I really? Oh, I did pretty good there. Huh. Yeah, I sold out at 40. Yeah. Okay, good. It's funny. I'm looking at my trades. I'm looking at my charts that I was trading that. I would sell it. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna go up, back up for a while. Today was a word day. Huh. That's interesting. 10:30. Everything spiked. Interesting. I bought 1,000 shares, and that's why. Okay. Huh. Interesting. What do you use to trade? I use TD Ameritrade, actually, and I like them very much. That's interesting. So there was a spike. That's interesting. So let me just look at the. Okay. No, I see it spiked. Yeah, you're right. You're spiked up to about 1375. It's trading for 1299 right now. SPE. Well, this thing looks like it's going to go lower, unfortunately, and so I probably would sell it. Sorry, I would. Yeah, today is a weird day. Spiked to 1030. Yeah, it is. The thing. Here's the thing about stocks like that. Here's the thing about stocks like that. They're relatively thinly traded, meaning this is a problem when you get into a market, a bear market. In the bull market, it's not so much of a problem, but in a bear market, it's a problem. You have these liquidity issues where you can have something and you can't sell it quickly enough because there's no buyers, and that's what happens in a bear trending market like we're in now. So you want to stay in things that are very liquid. That's the reason I look at the very, very largest ETFs to short, because I know that I can buy to cover very easily. I will get a bid. I don't have to worry about that. That is why something that's a little bit more thin, like Virgin Galactic, is sometimes you cannot get a bid. You cannot either buy or sell it because there's just not enough liquidity in the market. So that's something that you have to be very careful about in a bear market. Let's see. Maybe it was on low volume. Yeah, that's the thing. It probably was on low volume. Oh, yeah. I look at Spire Microsoft for the spike at 1030. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's probably the Fed coming in. That's somebody big coming in and buying. Let me look at Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the most widely held of all stocks out there because it is a definite market leader. And I haven't been trading Microsoft as much as I used to. 3 years ago, man, I was trading this like every day. I was trading Microsoft every day. I did really well. On it. I was basically in it very early, and but right now, yeah, okay, it did spike. That's interesting. 154. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing about Microsoft. I think the buy point. Yeah, see, IBD is saying that the buy point on that is 190. 90. I can see why that's the buy point. Yeah, I just wouldn't. That's interesting. I just wouldn't be a buyer of it right now. Buy the inverse spike. Oh, okay. Inverse the spike. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, let's look at that real quick. SPY. See if I've lost some money. I probably have. Yes, I have. It has moved against me. I am in it at, yeah, it's moved against me significantly. Oh well, so hopefully I will be in it, and then hopefully it'll reverse. But right now it's going the wrong way. so I'm not doing as well today as I should be. USLV got in at 28, bought 5,000. Wow. Would you sell now? Because it's only going up. You know, I might sell it. I don't know. Let it run. What I would do on that, that's a really good point. What I would do on that is I would set my stop loss and I would set it up and I would continue moving it up. If that thing moves up, set the stop loss higher. And then when it reverses, you'll be sold out. That's what I would do. I think it will reverse. But that's cool, man. That's cool that you're doing that. 5,000 shares. Well, USLV. Look at that. That's great. USLV. Yeah, okay. Velocity. Silver. Okay, cool. All right. That's interesting. Yeah, I would definitely start pushing up my stop loss. And then, seeing what happens. Hopefully you're able to keep that. Oh, I'm at the SPY reverse. Yeah, I think it will. I'm hoping it will. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. I'm eating more beans. No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad, but yeah, I think it will. I think it will reverse. It's sometimes you get directionally challenged, as it were. But I think overall the market is probably going to head down. So that's why I'm not in that. All right, everyone. It looks like I've been jabbering here for an hour, and I really appreciate everybody that tuned in so much. And I hope that just stay safe. I mean, I know that we're going to be on quarantine, and it's not going to be that great, but I really appreciate everybody tuning in today. So thanks a lot. I'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have some good news. So stay safe, set your stop losses tight, and and stay positive, man. All right, bye-bye. And goodbye on YouTube.